Hey guys, so it's March, which means I have a February wrap up for you and a March TBR. I only read 3 books to completion in February, which is not that many, but it's been kind of a hectic month, I guess, and it's a short month anyway, so whatever. The first book I cannot show you because I gave to my mother, and that is All the Pretty Horses by Cormac McCarthy. Um, I really like this book. I don't remember what I rated it, but that's okay. Um, I think in the beginning it was pretty difficult for me to get into it because the writing style is very dry, and when the characters have dialogue, Cormac McCarthy doesn't say who is saying what. Which is kind of interesting because later in the book you can kind of get a feel for how each character talks, and I feel like I got a pretty good picture of each of the characters and so was able to kind of distinguish who was speaking. Um, but the imagery is really beautiful, and then the second half, and especially the last third of the book, are pretty intense and thrilling. So if you are into cowboy stories or stories kind of about the Old West that deal with like Texas and the border with Mexico and things like that, then you probably would like this book. Yeah, so that's the first one that I read. The second one I read is from the Neversink Library collection that I got, and that is The Devil in the Flesh by Raymond Radiguet, I guess is how you say his name. And this is a story based on his own personal experience of a teenage boy who has an affair with a married woman during World War I. And that description I think is a little bit deceptive because when they say a married woman, I think, or I was picturing someone much older, but really she's only like a year older than him. So there's that. I didn't really like the book while I was reading it, but the nice thing about the Neversink Library collection is that there's always some kind of explanation. So in this case, it was an afterword by the translator, which went into depth a little bit more about kind of like the implications of this novel for its time, and kind of discussed more in depth, how like this was not an uncommon phenomenon. Like people were getting married really quickly, and then the husbands were going to the front, and then there were these new wives who were at home and who would often have affairs with the young boys because that's the only person who was left who was around. So it was interesting. It was very short. It was only 150 pages. Yeah, about 150 pages. So, yeah. It was also kind of interesting to read this because it's 2014 and that marks the 100-year anniversary of World War I starting. And it's kind of interesting to reflect on that while reading this. That was supposed to be the war to end all wars, and that didn't happen, obviously. Anyway, okay, so that was number 2. What was number 3? Oh, number 3 was The Colonel, which I read for the International Reads Book Club on Goodreads. I made a review of that, which I will link below if you're interested. It was a good book, but it's about Iran and the aftermath of the many different kind of revolutions that they had in the 20th century and before that also. The writing style was kind of dense and a little bit confusing, and I was very heavily reliant on the references and the afterword and all of that stuff. But if you're interested to learn more about Iran, then I would definitely suggest reading that. Just be prepared for something that will depress you and is not a light read. So what else? I continue to work through The Eye of the World. I'm a little more than halfway through it now. I like it. It's very engrossing, but I don't know. I just like the way that he writes is kind of forced, and so I'm like, you could have said that a little bit easier and less confusing. And then, of course, my ever never finished book, Guns, Germs, and Steel. I think I've read like 10 pages since I last made a video about this. It's pretty embarrassing. So that's what I had going on in February. In March, I've already started I always have to look at the title. Love, Dishonor, Marry, Die, Cherish, Perish by David Rakoff. It's really short. It's like less than 120 pages, and I'm already halfway through it. I'll probably finish it this afternoon. I like this as well. It kind of, yeah, it deals with heavy topics, but in the form of rhyming couplets, and so it is just, it's kind of not what you would expect, I guess, but it is very good. I'm very impressed with his vocabulary and the words that he finds to rhyme, and how he deals with some very serious topics in kind of a non-serious format. So I might do a review of this when I'm done. I don't know. What else? I am going to do kind of a buddy read with Lauren from Glowing Reviews 90 or 99. I'm not sure what the number is, but of Say You're One of Them. We're picking the story and going to read and discuss, I suppose. So that should be interesting. And then for March, since it's Women's History Month, I'm trying to pick only female authors. And so some of my choices are Brenda Cullerton, The Craigslist Murders from the International Crime bundle that I got from Melville House, The Spirit Catches You and You Fall Down by Anne Fadiman, which is about Hmong culture, I think. I've been meaning to read that for a long time. The Penelopead by Margaret Atwood. I've never read any Margaret Atwood, so that would be cool to do. The White Woman on the Green Bicycle. I've heard that this is pretty good from a number of people, and I've also been meaning to read this for a while too. My Never Sink pick, because there is only one Never Sink book that I was given by a female author, is After Midnight by Keun. And then I also kind of picked up some books from the library, which I might not get to, but the first one is Bad Dirt by Annie Proulx, and these are short stories about Wyoming and the West. And I got this because I really liked the feel of the West that I got from Cormac McCarthy, so I'll see what this one has to offer. And then this is not by a female author, but it is about Catherine the Great, and I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not going to read this. I'm going to return it and not have even opened it. Maybe I'll open it now. Okay, I opened it. I'm returning it now. Anyway, so that's kind of what's on my docket for March. I'm not going to read all those books. I probably will just select a few. And yeah, let me know what you're reading in March. And I wish you happy reading. Bye.